Hey, this is Dr. Delene Musielak with the Dr. Mom Show. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my great friend, Scott Ferguson.
Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and we're at episode 182 with my really good friend, Dr. Delene Musielak. She is the host of the podcast, Dr. D, Mom of Three, where she just drops some sick knowledge nuggets to help you level up the health side of your kids and the raising of your children without any bias or judgment. It's just an awesome show. So after this show, make sure you listen to the end because she drops some serious knowledge nuggets of her own in this show as well. Make sure you head over to that podcast and give it a listen. She is I used to be an immigrant. She's Guyanese. She's from Guyana. It's in South America. Her parents sacrificed a lot to get her to where she's at. She has a fantastic husband and also triplets, Luke, Ethan, and Alina, that just really keep her busy on top of her growing medical practice. So she's just chock full of knowledge that she's going to pass on to you right now. So sit back, relax, take some notes, because here comes my really good friend, Dr. D, the mom of three, Musielak. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today, Varsity Squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and this is literally the last interview I'm going to be doing in the year 2020. I'm so glad I got to squeeze this in and that Dr. Delene could carve time out of her busy schedule of saving lives. I mean, no big deal there, right? But no, she came on, and she's going to come on here and drop some serious knowledge nuggets on the squad out there. And Dr. Delene Musielak was born in Guyana. Hopefully I said that right. South America, where she grew up in a Christian home with parents who were both pastors. Dr. Musielak is dual boarded in internal medicine and pediatrics. She's not only a full-time physician and associate program director, but a super mom of, get this, squad, triplets. She's the wife of an amazing surgeon and an international best-selling author, motivational and wellness speaker, personal development coach, and entrepreneur. She has even started her own show, her podcast, the Dr. Mom Show, where she is known as Dr. D, the mom of three. I love that. I mean, she has a full plate, and then she still takes time to help other mothers and other people level up their life. So Dr. Delene, come on, introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today, Varsity Squad. But first, as you probably already know, I'm going to ask, what is your favorite color and why?
My favorite color is purple because it's just beautiful. Any flower, if you switch it to purple, it just makes it beautiful.
And it's regal. And
Yes,
it's royal.
I was just gonna say that. And
Just like
purple
you.
means royalty. That's right. I'm high maintenance. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
I love it. No, Dr. Delene and I, what I love, Squad, about Dr. Delene and I is we were introduced by a mutual friend, Berta Medina, which I mentioned her quite a bit. But like Dr. Delene is awesome because we can kind of just razz each other. And during this time, because we're still in COVID, I think we're in day like 9,687 of COVID, but like, you know, Dr. Delene is awesome. It's refreshing to get like a funny text from her or, kind of a leveling up text, be like, great show or whatever. And we just kind of razz each other. And it's just nice to have people like Dr. Delene here to be able to drop some just awesome knowledge nuggets on everybody. So Doc, let's get the origins of, Guyana and living in, everybody knows I'm a person of faith. Kind of coming from that background into medicine and marrying a surgeon and having triplets and leveling up. So if you could kind of in 2 minutes give us the story. I'm kidding. Take your time. Let's hear your story a little bit about the origins.
Yeah, I mean, I could do it. I lived in New York, so I can talk really fast if you need me to.
Love it.
Yeah, so I was born in Guyana, South America. And originally, my parents moved to the United States essentially just to give my sister and myself a better education, because, of course, in third world countries, that education, those opportunities aren't really there. And I really saw my parents give up everything for my sister and I. And one thing I love right now, my sister and I, of course, have gone to school, have done well, have worked really hard, because, you can't be successful without working hard. And it's just nice to give back to our parents, to say like, hey, we'll pay for this or we'll do this. It's just really nice because we know that our parents gave up so much for us. But since I was young, I always wanted to be a doctor. I just loved it. I loved the thought of taking care of people. I always did so much stuff for my grandma. She was a diabetic, had high blood pressure, but I would always do everything for her. And I just enjoyed no, that's all right. Ever since I was little, I always wanted to be a doctor. And I really enjoyed taking care of my grandma who was diabetic and also had high blood pressure. And there was just something about taking care of people that in my heart, I just felt really fulfilled. And initially, I wanted to just do straight pediatrics because I love kids. Kids don't bother you, they give you hugs, high fives. But when I went to school, I really enjoyed internal medicine, which is focused on adults. And that's what got me to being dual boarded, where I did both internal medicine and pediatrics. So, yes,
Wow.
I am glutton for punishment. I was like, I'm going to do both of these.
Uh-huh.
And that's what led me down that road. And it's been very fulfilling because I get to take care of everybody, or like I like to say, from the womb to the tomb.
There you go.
So I cover the entire gamut. And in medical school was where I met my husband. And funny story, when he asked me out, I was like, oh no, I was like, get thee behind me, Satan. I'm not trying to be distracted. I
Right.
am in school to learn.
Right.
But somehow he still won my heart. Great guy, amazing surgeon, awesome dad, supportive with all the craziness that I do. Sometimes I think he worries about me. He's like, I feel like you're spreading yourself too thin.
I
But
was
he's
going to say the same thing. How do you do all that with triplets and taking care of your husband also? And so what kind of
yeah,
surgeon is he?
he's general and bariatrics.
Okay. Gotcha. What's
So
bariatric?
for weight loss.
Oh, gotcha. Very
Yes.
cool.
So
Very cool.
he enjoys that.
Okay.
So yes, and ultimately, we were apart for our training. The whole match thing, it would be a whole nother show how you match for your training. And I was in Missouri and my husband matched in Cincinnati. And
Oh.
when we got back together, I was like, let's go, let's have some babies. And I was really praying for twins. Like, I'm not
Right.
gonna lie, because there's twins on my side, there's twins, his uncles are twins.
Okay.
And I said, I'm good with twins. I got two boobs. We can do this.
Let's
Two
do
hands, two
this.
boobs, got
Right.
this.
Right.
But God has a sense of humor, and
Yes, he
He
does.
blessed us with three. Um,
Yay.
I know.
Awesome. And is it boys, girls, or what's the
It's two boys and a girl, babies, Luke,
nice?
Ethan, and Alina.
Luke, Ethan, and Alina. And how did they come out? Like, was it the two boys first and the girl, or how'd that
So it
work?
was Luke, Ethan, and then Alina. Alina, she's the baby.
She's the
She's the
baby,
baby
baby. I
girl.
love it. I love it. I
Yes.
bet you she has daddy wrapped around her finger
Oh,
too.
she does. And she
Huh?
loves him so dear. She just uses me.
Gotcha. So were you guys married when you guys were finishing up your internships and stuff like that? Because I don't know how that all works.
Yeah, so we got married. Go
Okay.
ahead.
No, my mom always told me I should have been a doctor because my handwriting's crap, but that's as close as I could come to
Love
ever
it.
being anything. But no, so go on.
That's one stipulation is that bad hair. I've slowly had to make mine worse in order to like fit the bill,
To fit in.
So yeah, we got married right at the end of medical school. And for internship and residency, which is
Right.
your specialty training, that's when we were apart. So
Okay.
it was until we were all done, we were able to reunite.
Good.
And don't get me singing on this show because I'm not a singer.
Right. Reunited and it feels so. Anyways, I'm not either. So
See, that's why we're right there, because that's the exact song I was
yeah,
thinking of.
absolutely. We are. I love it. I love it. So you went through, and how many years have you been practicing as a
So I've
doctor?
been practicing now 7 years out of my total training.
Okay. Gotcha. And so you help children on a daily basis. You're always leveling them up. A lot of energy there, coming home, taking care of children, your husband. So what made you say, I'm going to start a show, a podcast, if you will, the Dr. Mom Show or Dr. D Mom of 3? What was that kind of, lack of a better term, fork in the road moment to say, okay, I'm just going to be this doctor and mom, and then added this in? Like, what made that come about?
Yeah, so after I had the babies, I found myself where, I was like, I'm a doctor. I know I should know what I'm doing. But I tell you what, being a mom is completely different. No matter how much schooling you have, I don't think anybody can teach you how to be a mom. That's a day-to-day learning experience. And I just felt God laid on me one day that just my expertise as a physician, and then now my experience as a mom, and not only a mom, but a mother of multiples, to do the show essentially just to help with preventative care. I'm a huge advocate for preventative care, and also just encouraging parents that, you can do it. We're each a superhero. We got this. We were blessed, and God never gives us more than we can handle. So in essence, we just have to figure out how to do the best job we can.
Love it. And so do you do this show by yourself, or do you have other people that you bring on, other professionals maybe from outside of pediatrics that you bring on to help, parents level up?
Yes. So I do some shows by myself.
Mhm.
And then, of course, I do have guests on too. So, yeah, sometimes I have an expert. Sometimes I just have moms. Most recently, my newest episode's coming out. I'm doing my first incredible kid. So, every season, I'm going to feature an incredible kid on my show who's just doing awesome things just to help parents know what's out there for their kids, and also just encourage other kids of things that they can get involved in.
Okay. So what's the biggest fear that you see parents kind of come across when they're first have newborns? I mean, you obviously have the triple experience, but then you do it every day by parents. But what is like that one question, without divulging too much of the doctor patient privilege or whatnot, but like, what's the one question that's the biggest fear that parents have?
I would probably say the biggest question I get is about immunizations and autism. That's
Okay.
probably kind of taken place of everything else. So probably every family that I see, either families are set that they're doing immunizations, or they're just on the fence and unsure about what to do.
Okay. And what is your take on the immunizations?
So I am pro vaccines.
Me too. Okay.
But at the same time, I always tell parents that, no matter what we recommend for your child, and even as a patient, even my adult patients, I tell them this: what we recommend, you can't be forced to do it.
Right.
So essentially, my goal, and the same thing with the Dr. Mom show, is just so that you're better educated and well educated, because I just don't want you seeing something on a blog, a Facebook post, an Instagram post, some
Right.
page from somebody who it's one experience that, you're making your decision that could affect your child or even yourself. And I just feel, that what we call in medicine, that evidence-based medicine and information, is very, very important. So essentially, you're just making a well-educated decision. And that's what I tell parents: just as long as you know the risks and benefits associated with your decision and you feel comfortable, you're good to go.
Gotcha. So how do parents, because I never was blessed with children, but how do parents pick pediatricians? Is it something that say, hey, it's within your medical insurance, or do people seek certain pediatricians out, or how does that work generally?
So most physicians, including myself, do what's called a prenatal meet and greet, where parents can come in even when they're pregnant or
Hmm.
after they have kids, and essentially meet me, get a sense of my personality, see the office, and meet the staff to know if this is a location that they want to be, and if they feel like they connect with the
Love that.
physician.
So when you're meeting these parents, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
I think a good question, probably one of the biggest questions people should ask, and it's not a specific question. I think people should feel out. Like, I'm a true encourager of these prenatal meet and greets, because I think it's really important to connect with your doctor and your child's doctor, so you feel comfortable enough to ask questions and you don't feel like your questions are pushed to the side. Because I get patients who transfer care to me and they're like, oh, it's so nice that you answer my questions. My previous doctor, when I asked questions, they didn't answer it. So I don't think there's a specific question. I think it's more just feeling out to see if you do connect with your physician or your child's physician.
Love it. They have that rapport there, that, because
Exactly.
you're going to be their physician for
Yeah.
sometimes 15, 16 years, right?
Yep. Some
You would
people it's
think.
like 30 years.
Yeah. You know,
They stay with
that's
you
true
for
because
life.
if they have multiple babies and stuff, it could last that long. Yeah, I just was wondering if they would ask, is my baby really cute? I'm just kidding. I'm totally
Well,
kidding,
all
squad.
babies are cute.
Every baby's
And
cute. I'm
treat them
just
all
kidding.
the
I love it. So starting the Dr. Mom show, what was that catalyst really for starting that? Because I mean, you do it every day. What, because you kind of covered it earlier, but I want to dig a little bit deeper on that, Doc, with really starting the show in like, because there's stuff you need to learn to podcast. I mean, there's a learning curve to everything. So what was the say, okay, I want to do this, and what really tugged at your heartstrings with regards to that?
So I initially started my show just as a YouTube channel for fun, like essentially
Oh,
just for fun.
okay.
And it was just a few months ago that I was on somebody else's podcast, and the person who features that podcast reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you want to turn your show into a podcast?" And I said, "Why not? I already do a million things. What's a million and one?"
Yeah. Add one more thing. No, it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. The show is. I got to
It
tell you that it is not only podcasting, but the way that you do it is it's a lot of fun. People will have to tune in, and that will be the link to that will be in the show notes. So, Doc, what that you've heard this question asked before, obviously, but like let's go back to the 21, 22-year-old Dr. Delene, which you weren't quite a doctor. Then we'll just that 21, 22-year-old Delene. What kind of knowledge nuggets would you drop on her to help her maybe shorten her learning curve and kind of level up a little quicker, blast through?
Yeah, I would have done a little bit of business to blast through for sure. I'm trained. I could run Code Blue, got it comfortable. But after you were talking about, the YouTube channel, starting Dr. Mom Show, the podcast, there's a lot of business that's involved, things like marketing,
Right.
getting my show out there, because I can have all these nuggets and this golden information, but if I don't know how to get it out to parents and families, they're never going to hear the information that I have. And that's something I struggle with. So for sure, I would have done more business.
Gotcha. So, Doc, what do people misunderstand about you the most?
Um, Probably because I smile too much, and I have a tendency that guys think I'm attracted to them and maybe coming on to them.
I can see that happening. That's funny. You're just overly friendly though, which makes
Yes.
you warm and approachable in stuff like that. So that's fantastic. So how do you want your dash remembered? That little line between your incarnation date and your expiration date. How do you want Dr. Delene's dash remembered?
I want it to be remembered as legacy, that when somebody thinks of me or speaks of me, they will think of the legacy I've left, not only as a physician, but as a mom, as Dr. Mom, as an entrepreneur, as a writer, as a speaker, and the impact I've had on their life to help them be happier and healthier.
Wow. That's awesome. So happy and healthy legacy impact, which you're living that legacy daily. So that's awesome. So you're already living it. So hopefully that time doesn't come for a long, long time. So
Yes. I still have so much to accomplish.
So what's one thing Dr. Delene knows for sure about life? Take off your medical crap right now, okay? I want to dig in Delene, okay? So what's the one thing that Dr. Delene knows for sure?
I know that life is hard,
Mhm.
but I know that it's not perfect, and I don't have to. I've really learned in everything that I've done not to strive for perfection. I've been guilty of that, to come down and be hard on myself because I strive for perfection. But with the life we live and the hurdles and struggles we have, you don't have to solve those in a perfect way. You just have to get through them and learn from them.
Well, and learn from them. And if you're going to fail forward, you don't have to quit, right?
Very true.
Love it. And you seem like somebody that really, really owns everything and takes responsibility for everything. So what is your definition of responsibility?
Oh, I'm huge on accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So my definition of responsibility would be that, yeah, exactly. If something were to happen, or you're involved in any manner, whether you're with your hand in it, that you should man up and own it and be accountable and learn from it because I'm that person who falls and I'll laugh at myself.
Uh-huh. I love it. My mentor taught me that, my squad that listens know this, but responsibility that's rooted in the word itself, it's the ability to respond, to any situation.
That's
Like
true.
you just said, you own it. When you fail forward. Who cares? Just pick up that little extra yard of knowledge in life. So okay, I got to ask this to you. Like, what's one thing in life that has just really blown Dr. Delene's mind?
You stumped me with this one. That's really blown my mind. I'm going to go with something that's happened recently.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay if I talk about the elections?
That's fine. It's okay.
So no sides coming out here, but with the talk of just the corruption and potential cheating, that's just really blown my mind. I think I'm just very taken back that people would go to lengths if it's true to do something like that. And my husband always faults me about that. He always says, you end up getting your feelings hurt because you think everybody's good. And he's funny because I start everybody out with an A and you can only mess it up for yourself. But my husband's different. He starts you out with an F and
okay.
you earn that A. And he always tells me your feelings get hurt because you're a good person and you feel everybody is just as good as you. So you end up getting hurt. So I will say I'm just blown away that, I don't know, that people could be corrupt. And I'm not only speaking about the elections. I'm also talking about in general, because bad things happen every day.
Right.
That, people could be heartless and so selfish and not be selfless, because if we were all selfless, this would be an awesome world, I tell you.
Yeah, it'd be boring. You got to have the selfish people too. Got to keep us off kilter, off track a little bit. So upon that, like, who has made the most profound impact on your life?
I would have to go with my parents.
Okay.
I know that sounds so lame.
No, it's not lame. They sacrificed so. That's why I had to ask the question, because that was what I was hoping you were going to say. That they actually sacrificed so much from you. And like, what, so it's Guyana. Like, if like you're from Michigan, you're a Michigander. What are you if you're from Guyana?
Is Guyanese.
Guyanese? Okay. Gotcha. Is there a Guyanese language?
Nope. Guyana is the only English-speaking country in South America.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
What is, I should know this.
We're going to give you a geography lesson.
Yeah, where is it at?
Yes. So there's 3 Guyanas. So it's at the northern tip of South America.
Okay.
We're right next to Venezuela. So the 3 Guyanas. So we're Guyana. We were British Guyana. So that's why we only speak English.
Okay.
And then there's French Guyana and Dutch Guyana.
Got it.
Dutch Guyana is now Suriname.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. So, Doc, what would be your definition of a life well lived?
A life well lived, I think, is just being filled with love, and that you're just satisfied with yourself. You're happy with what you've done and accomplished. That would be my life well lived, is that I'm happy where I am and I'm just surrounded by love.
I love that. I love that.
In a selfless world.
It's you simple it. I call it dumbing it down. You dumb it down so much that, people just get it, that they would. And that's what we do at Time to Shine today, is we help them get it. If they've been in a spot where they're not able to get out of that funk, that's what we do here, which that. But as we level things down here a little bit, we have our leveling up lightning round where I'm going to ask you 5 or 6 questions with
my palms are getting sweaty.
There you go. No explanation. So don't explain why. Just, you got 5 seconds to answer it and we'll move on to the next one. All right.
Got it.
Ready? All right. So, Doc, what's the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Again, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Gotcha. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I make a to-do list.
Love it. Love it. Other than your own website, which we have in the show notes, and also timetoshinetoday.com, which is my shameless plug, what other website do you go to kind of level up and blow your mind up a little bit?
Of course, your podcast.
Okay.
Just level up ever since I met you.
What? Love it. Love it. So not the book you're reading now or the ones you wrote, which those will be in the show notes as well, squad. But name a book that if I'm in my doldrums, you're like, Fergie, read this book.
I really like my sister. I gotta say, she's my sister. She did an awesome book called To Be a Good Wife and the Other Woman.
The Other Woman.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. That's really cool. I just caught on to that one. Anyways, what's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
The smiley face with the hard eyes.
Hard eyes, smiley face. Love it. So you don't get guys that get the wrong idea from that? I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, have you?
I'm breaking my own rule. If you could be one age physically for the rest of your life, what would it be? And still be able to gain knowledge and still be able to keep the knowledge you've learned. If you could be one age for the rest of your life, what would it be?
33.
I love it. I always say 32. So we're right on the same page there. Any charities or organizations you'd like to give your time or money to?
Yes. Susan Komen for breast cancer.
Yay. Love it. Love it. And last question. What's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
80s, hands down.
80s, big hair, don't care, right? But the 80s, that's where I grew up. You know, coming up on 50 years old, it's like the 80s is where I did 10 years of my 12 years of schooling. So it's like, you know, you had, you know, the out goes disco, but in comes like rap, you know, with your Run DMCs and whatnot. But they also had the British invasion, you know, with and also like Duran Duran and U2 from yeah, it's the best. And you had Prince, Madonna, Michael. I mean, they're all come on the 80s. It's awesome. It's awesome. So take our phones out, take your laptop out, take your tablet out of the equation. What's 3 things Dr. Delene can't live without?
Chapstick.
Well, I'm glad that you said it. That's real. Chapstick.
Of course, money. I would need some money to get someplace.
Very good.
And lotion.
And lotion. Lotion, yeah. Got it. So chapstick, money, and lotion. Beautiful. Doc, how can we find you?
You can check me out at drDeleneMusielak.com.
Okay.
R and my name, DeleneMusielak.com.
And squad, she also has an awesome LinkedIn page. And she's got the Facebook page. And she's got an awesome Instagram page. And a fantastic YouTube channel, which you have to go check that out as well. So, Doc, leave us with one last knowledge nugget you want us to take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Just as we finish up 2020, I want you to not focus on everything that's happened and realize that you can still prosper during a pandemic. So I just want you to reset your mindset for 2021 and say to yourself, that I will prosper during the pandemic. And like Dr. D always says, don't forget to wash your hands, kiss your kids, love your family, and say your prayers goodnight.
So that was wash your hands, kiss your kids, love your family, and say prayers.
Exactly.
Wow. That is just awesome. So squad, we just had, this is really fun. I've been looking forward to this. I'm glad I'm ending the year on this note with my really, really good friend, smiling Dr. Delene. You know, she believes in helping with preventative care, and she's an advocate for that. So she also, if you're getting into the medical field, learn the business side of it as well. That's something that I really took away, because a lot of people, especially doctors, have came to me to put them in touch with people for finances and business leveling up, which is incredibly incredible that she said that. Be on the lookout for her incredible kids show, which I cannot wait to hear those, that she brings those awesome kids on. She's going to leave a legacy, which she's living it right now, but a legacy of being impactful, happy, and healthy, and helping others do the same. You know, life, she's going to remind us that life is hard. You know, there's no such thing as perfection. Learn to be happy, but always kind of like we say, bite down on your mouthpiece in the hard times and still push forward through them. Or also, like we say, we overlap our happiness, because no matter what happens, whether it's good or bad, it's going to end. Everything is finite. So if it's a good thing, it's still going to end. So might as well just keep adding on happiness. Do something that makes you happy every day. And Dr. Delene's going to remind you of that. You know, she's going to say, during these crazy times during the pandemic, I myself and my listeners know that I don't validate the pandemic. I use it as a way to meet awesome people like Dr. Delene and other people. But she wants you to make sure you still wash your hands, kiss your kids, love your family, and say your prayers. So, Dr. Delene, you are fantastic. I love that smiling face. You're amazing. You're healthy. You're wealthy. You're helping everybody level up. You do so much for this world, this universe that God has provided with us. Thank you so much for carving out a little bit of your time to come on today.
Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure.
Yay. I'll talk soon.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.